Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to show you guys how I like to cream contour and highlight. On one side I decided to use a brush, and on the other side I used a sponge, just to show you guys the difference and the different techniques how I like to use it. I do already have my foundation on at the moment, but that is it. Now I remember using these when I first started out in makeup like 7 years ago, and that's why I wanted to get them again because I remember loving them. I'm still going to use the lighter shade that I got to conceal. So this is in the shade Vanilla. So I am going to start out with using the LA Girl concealer underneath my eyes, just around my nose area there. I feel like I've just put way too much on. I always like to go on my chin and also just in between my eyebrows here, and then down the center of my nose. And that is about it. So I have my damp beauty sponge from Ivana Beauty, and I'm going to blend out this side of my face and then use a brush on the other side. I'm just purely doing this for, I don't know. Sometimes I use sponges and sometimes I use brushes. It really just depends. So we're gonna just use both today because, you know, oh my god, that looks so good already. I put way too much on, and because I have already done like my under eye, I need to be really careful, so that's annoying me, but we can make do. So I always like to bring my concealer up like that, and then I always like to turn my beauty sponge around and blend out the edges of the concealer. Okay, so you can already see the difference in contrast underneath my eye. I'm just going to go ahead and blend out my chin. Once again, I'm just going to turn it around and kind of spread it out and blend that in. And then I will do the same. I have quite a large forehead, so I don't like to enhance that by bringing it out so much, but I do have some fine lines that I like to conceal, which is why I kind of like to bring it up this area in the first place. If I didn't, I really probably wouldn't bring it up here that much, just kind of in the center of my eyebrows and just above them a little bit. If you do tend to take your concealer too far up, you can just grab your brush that you use to apply foundation and kind of erase it away. So I'm just using the pointier end and dabbing the sponge into the concealer. So I'm just going to grab a brush. This one is the Conceal Blend Kabuki by Sigma. I'm just going to go in and pat that into my skin and bring it up like I did on the other side. I feel like I'm just using dabbing motions to press that into the skin. So you can already see that this side is a lot more blended and this side is taking some time to blend, but it does bring off like a more full coverage look. If you guys can see, there's a lot more product on this side than this side, but I am going to continue to blend this out and just see the difference in each side. So that's the difference in each side. You can definitely tell that this side is a lot more full coverage. I feel like I need to really even it out though, otherwise this video is going to look funny. So I'm just going to take my sponge and just blend the outside areas a little bit. The thing about sponges is they do shear out the product and make it a lot more natural on the skin. So that's definitely why there is a bit of difference there. I just realized that I don't have my microphone in my camera, so I need to come back and do that. Hopefully the audio is all good for this video so far. So now we're going to contour the face, and my favorite product at the moment to cream contour is the Huda Beauty Tantour. This is what it looks like here. I have the shade Fair, and then I thought I would show you another one that I love as well, which is the Nars liquid bronzer in the shade Laguna. So this one's a bit more runnier, which is why I don't really tend to grab it that much. But for today, we are going to use the Tantour, and I'm going to pick this up on a flat angled Kabuki by Sigma. You can see here that it is angled, so it's kind of easier to stand stamp in and blend out. Just gonna pick a little bit up on my brush. This always looks like it's so much, but when you blend it out, it actually blends out really, really pretty. So I always like to go from the top of my ear down to the sides of my mouth. You can kind of see that already starting to shape the face. And then I also like to cover up this area. I have put on 20 kilos, so I really need to get under this area. So I like to push the product upwards and not downwards because you don't really want to bring that darkness down. But if you do, you can see that I've brought it down a little bit too much. We can just go in and clean that up with a little bit of concealer. And because I have such a large forehead, I do like to hit this temple area here, but also bring it around and try and minimize that forehead a little bit. Okay, so you can kind of see now how that's starting to form shape. What I'm gonna do is just grab a little bit of the LA Girl concealer on the brush that we used and just clean it up a little bit. That was probably way too much product. I'm just gonna buff that out a bit. Okay, so this is how the cream contour is looking so far with the brush side. So now I'm going to take the sponge and do the exact same thing, but just on the other side. So I'm going to grab the Tantour and just use the bottom of my sponge and pinch it together and pick up a bit of product, and once again pinch it together and do the same thing but on this side. You can see how it kind of just deposits the product on a lot more naturally, and you don't have to do as much blending when you do use the sponge. I didn't pick up too much. I always like to layer it on. I don't like to go in with a lot of product. I'm just going to do the same thing and take a little bit underneath the jawline. I also like to kind of push it up underneath my ears there. Then once again, I'm going to grab the LA Girl concealer and just sharpen up that area. Grab my sponge. I'm going to use the side of the sponge and just clean that up, just like we did on the other side. So now I'm going to contour the nose, and I'm going to use a 124 concealer buffer from Zoeva. It's just a little round buffing concealer brush. I'm just going to pick up a little tiny bit on the brush. Now I like to cream contour right up into the sockets of the eye, but I've already got my eyes on today, so I can't really do that. I will do it to where I can. I just don't want to ruin my eyeshadow. So I just take the product onto both sides. There's so many different ways to cream contour the nose. I don't really have a bigger nose that I want to make look smaller, so I don't necessarily have to contour my nose. But this is what I do like to do when I cream contour. You can see that I am taking it up into that socket area as well. It's just going to help contour the eyes. You can actually take it right into the crease of your eye as well, which looks really pretty. So this is kind of just placing the product down, and then I'm just going to blend that out. Okay, so this is the nose so far. I'm just gonna go in and soften that out a little bit using the sponge, just the top of the sponge, kind of just pressing that top bit. See, that looks good from the front, but I don't like when you can see harsh lines from the side. I'm just gonna blend that out a bit using the sponge. There's nothing on the sponge, I'm just kind of pressing that into the skin. Next, we're gonna go in with a bit of blush. So I only ever really use one liquid blush, and it's from Nars, and it is Orgasm. I'm sure so many people have heard of it. It's so pretty and it blends out so easy. So that's what it looks like there. It's such a pretty color. I do actually need to buy some more cream blushes, so I'll definitely keep that in mind for another video and try out some more. So I'm just gonna grab a brush. This one is the F04 by Sigma, and I'm gonna dip a little bit of product onto the brush, and I'm gonna start to blend that into the contour and kind of keep it to the apples a little bit. I'm just gonna grab a clean kabuki brush and blend out them edges. So now I'm going to do the other side, and I'm going to use my sponge. I'm just going to pick up a little bit on my finger and then just use the top of the sponge and blend that out. I'm just going to pick up a little bit more product. Now moving on to highlighter, I'm using the What's Up highlighter by Benefit. It's in a little stick. Apply it onto a brush. What's this? The F56 by Sigma. This brush is actually designed to hug the cheekbone. You can see that it's nice and curved. So you do sit it onto the cheekbone and just kind of swipe it onto the bone like that. I'm going to go ahead and pop a little bit on, just using product like that. And then I'm going to grab my sponge, squeeze the side and use the sides to blend that out. So now I'm just going to go in and set everything down with a powder. Now you can use a translucent powder and set everything down, but in today's video I'm going to go over the top with like a bronzer, a blush and a highlighter, just to show you guys another option to make it a little bit more dramatic. So I'm just going to take the Laura Mercier translucent powder. It's my favorite powder, and I'm going to dust that underneath my eye area and around my nose, and just also my chin and just around my forehead area there. My favorite contouring powder is the Hoola by Benefit. So I'm just gonna grab an angled brush and lightly go over where we contour. I don't like to pick up too much product and make it look too cakey. I'm pretty much just dusting around the edges of my forehead. And then of course I cannot miss my jawline. This is like my favorite place to contour, is my jawline. I'm just gonna grab a fluffy blending brush and just set the sides of my nose. I'm just gonna grab Luminoso by Milani. It's just quite similar to the blush that we used by Nars. I'm just gonna pick it up on a clean angled brush and pop that straight over the cream blush. Also going to go back in with the translucent powder and just sweep it underneath my contour. I do this every time I do my makeup. You can bake. A lot of people like to use that technique, but I personally don't. Okay, so before we highlight, I'm going to spritz using the Fix Plus. And for highlighter, I'm going to use Heart by Ivana Beauty. I'm going to pop that on my Cupid's bow. And then also on the cheek wall. I don't want to put too much, I'm trying to keep it nice and natural. Wow, that's not natural. This is so pretty, this highlighter. I'm just gonna grab a little pencil brush so I can do my nose. And then that is the completed look. I personally like to use brushes when I cream contour, but as you can see, it's much easier if you aren't very aware of what you're doing, or if you're starting out to cream contour, to use brushes when I cream contour. But as you can see, it's much easier if you aren't very aware of what you're doing, or if you're starting out to cream contour, to use a sponge. The sponges do most of the work for you. Please let me know in the comments down below if there's any other cream products that I can try, or that you guys think's good that I should try. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video if you enjoyed watching it, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Bye.